What can I say? What can anyone say at a time like this? You are a brave man, James, and a true blue friend. And I'll never forget you for this. Never, never.
Artie, I better dress before you have me in tears.
Questions that we've already gotten from the audience. I love this question was, who got more girls? James Kirk of the Starship Enterprise or James West? We just saw who got more girls. Who's ready to be a living legend, ladies and gentlemen? Robert Conrad. This is a real treat for me too, like all of you. I'm a huge lifelong fan of this man, and I want to thank him again for being here. If you don't mind, one more time, Robert Conrad.
Thank you very much. I'm very sincere when I say that. I've always loved an audience. Even when I was a little truck driver, I was always very happy when I was delivering the milk and she would say, thank you. And he would come out and say, what do you do here? And I would say, well, I'm a milkman since used to be. Now, can I get this mic lowered just a little bit? Alita, would you do that over there? Can you lower this? This is Alita. She's my assistant. She's a wonderful lady. Not my girlfriend. Yet.
I'm going to try to steal a page from James Lipton. You've seen the Actors Studio, I'm sure, Robert, before. And we're going to start, once we get the mic the way you like, in the beginning. It's always a good place to start. Someone's got a phone ringing.
Oh yeah, I can't do it. That means she's fired.
Switch?
It can't be done. Egocentric witch.
Switch.
I cleaned it up. I took the bee off.
The honeymoon's over. So we're going to start at the beginning. That's a good place to start, right, Mr. Conrad? You got it like you like it over there?
No, I want to take my glasses off.
Switch.
Wait a minute. Let me see. Now I can see it.
And we're going to start at the beginning. You were born Conrad Robert Falkowski, is that correct?
No, that's not correct.
No? And that's Conrad.
I was born Conrad Robert Norton Falk. Conrad was after my grandfather, and Conrad Robert was after my uncle. Norton was after the doctor who delivered me, and Falk was after my father.
And Conrad was born with Conrad with a K, though, right?
It was F-A-L-K, a simple name.
No, I mean Conrad was spelled with a K. It
Well, it
wasn't.
was spelled C-O-N-R-A-D.
So they've screwed up everything online about your life, basically.
Yes, my mother was 15, not 60.
No, I knew, see, I had that. I had 15, I knew that. Now, we do know you were born March 1st, right? That makes you a Pisces. Do you put any stock in that zodiac? Well, do you believe it? Do you believe in that at all?
Where the hell did you come from?
Well, I'm not a Pisces. How many people are Pisces like Mr. Conrad? Look at that. You got a lot of them. Did you know that they say the Pisces is the saint and the sinner? Do you think that's... Yeah, the saint and the sinner. You know, according to AOL, and I don't believe anything they say anymore, but anyway, according to them, the Pisces, they say there are more millionaires in the world that are Pisces, but there are also more people in jail that are Pisces.
I did both.
See? There you go.
Yeah, that did.
The saint and the sinner.
Jail was in France, it was in Paris, and I'm going back to France at the end of the summer. Oh because they've embraced my career more than God, it's irritating. Anyway, they embarrassed me with having this so high. They must have thought I was taller. Anyway, I'm going back to France, but I did have a bad experience there in Paris with a beautiful lady. And I was in jail until TWA got me out. They got me out the same day I went in. And what happened was we had been on a tour of this beautiful lady. I won't mention her name, but I saw her recently. But anyway, we were on a tour and we had just come from Egypt. And we were waiting in Paris to go to Madrid and then from Madrid home. Well, when we were ready to board the airplane, he said, no, monsieur. I said, excuse me, what? He said, no. And you're not on this flight. I said, yeah, I'm on the flight. We've been waiting about 10 hours out there to get on this airplane. And then he made the cardinal mistake. He took his left arm and he put it on my chest. And that was the last thing he remembered. And when I got hit with a thing called a sap, and it bounced off my head, and that was the last thing he remembered. So anyway, when I got out, that's why I was incarcerated. I got out and I went to Madrid and I called a friend of mine, and he used to be my best friend. He was absolutely my best friend, but he isn't anymore. We had a misunderstanding. And anyway, I called him and I said, listen, RJ, can you send me $250? I want to get to New York and then go home. He said, sure, no problem. So I said, let's hit the Hilton Hotel in Madrid and I'll wait for the money to come. He said, okay, fine, no problem. So I walked down into the bar and there's this agent. He said, oh my God, you're on my list. I said, what list is that? I thought you just got out of jail. It's Al Capone or who, you know. And he said, no, and he showed me a list of 10 actors and I was number 5. He said, be the first boyfriend of this actress named Marisol. And I said, okay. He said, how old are you now? I said, I'm 28. Well, she's 15. I don't know if that'll work. I said, well, I think it's against the law, but whatever I want to do. And he said, let's have a photo op. So I brought in Manuel Goyanes, who won for it, won the Academy Award, Best Foreign Film. And he said, let's do the photo op. And then this red Mercedes showed up with 2 guys, one on the left side, one on the right side of this beautiful young girl. I have a picture of her. Now, Lita, where's the picture of her? Anyway, you won't be able to see it way out there, but I'll just, matter of fact, if you want, I'll hand it to you and you can pass it out. This was given to me by a French friend, and as a reward for his generosity, I'm going to go to France and visit with my French fans. It's just been absolutely marvelous to me. But anyway, so the 2 guys were her bodyguards. They were Manuel Goyanes' sons. We took the photo out and they said, perfect. She looks 18, you look 23. And I did a movie with this woman and she became the most successful Spanish actress in the history of film. And she's now retired and she has 3 beautiful daughters. They're all actresses. Her husband died 6 years ago. And I'm going to go to France and thank my French audience, which is the biggest audience. I've been voted #1 foreign actor there for years, which is something that's absolutely wonderful for me. So I'm just going there to thank them. I'm not going to take advantage of the free airfare or the lodging. I'm just going to go over on my own and let those people that have been my fans know I'm there and will visit. And then I'm going to Malaga in Spain just to say hello to Marisol. And she now has a restaurant. She has a street named after her. And she's obviously in her 60s, and I can't wait to see her. So she's on, hang on, can you open this, Kevin? To the front. Next page. Thanks. Next page. Anyway, we're coming through to show you this picture of this woman. She's absolutely one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. There she is. Yeah, here she is. This is the actress, and The film is called La Nueva Cenicienta, and even though it's in Spanish, if you want to see a classic musical, she married the guy, Antonio, who was a ballet flamenco dancer, and she was flamenco, and she was also a singer. And I sing with her, and all the songs that I sing with her, I sing in Spanish. And it was very well received over there, and I'm very thrilled to share that with you. And this is her. And if you'll come up, you can pass this out to the audience if they want to go through this. Alina, you want to hand this? Here, you want to come and get it? Well, you guys, come on, get this. Hang on, there she is. And you can come through this if you want. Javier sent this to me, and he's one of my French fans, so I wanted to share that with you. And all the singing that I do is all in Spanish. And I'm going to do an album this spring, singing, which is what I started to do when my career began when I was 19 years old. And I'm going to do maybe one song in Spanish and the rest, of course, in English. And I've asked my radio audience to send me the songs that they like. And those are the songs that I will do. So I'm getting a lot of songs from that audience. And when I get them up, I will go in and I'll record, because that's what I started doing when my career began.
Yeah, in fact, some of the questions were about that. Your mother was a piano rep for Mercury Records.
Yeah, my mother was a piano, yeah.
Is that where you think you got your first love? Because your first love was singing in terms of show business, right?
No, you were right. My first love was my mother. And my mother, Jacqueline, was her name, J-C-Q.
You released several recordings, in fact.
I had done a lot of recordings. Yeah, then I did some for Waters, but what happened there is there was a very popular singer coming up. And God, he was popular. It wasn't my kind of music, so I did what my daughter did just recently. I quit. I said, I can't sing this stuff.
Right.
And I met this guy at a football game, and his name was Elvis Presley.
Someone in the audience, Robert, wanted to know what is your favorite song or favorite type of music?
The kind we just talked about, standards like, That's All, and you name it. It's a old classic, and that's a song I like, and that's what will be in the album.
Another question.
After time, you know that, right?
Right.
I tell myself that I'm so lucky to be having you. Yes.
Another question in the audience was, how come you haven't sung in a show since Hawaiian Eye?
Well, it's hard to sing during the Wild West. I mean, I was kind of flying all over the room. Let me knock you out and sing to you.
Now, is it true that you should, I'm going to ask everything starting with the question, is it true, since obviously a lot of it, but you changed your name according to an interview you did once. You married very young for the first time, too.
Yes, I did.
Took the girl to another town, was very young, and you wanted to stay low on the radar. It was said that that's when you changed to Robert Conrad.
No, that's not true.
No?
No, I tell you the truth. I swear to tell you the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Because you're here, because I'm here, and I'm very flattered that you're here. So that's why I want to share with you the honesty. Now, in my left foot, I had surgery on my knee from those stunts, and it was significant surgery. It starts here and ends somewhere down there. And they put me in the hospital, and what they didn't do is flip me. So I developed the bed sores. Thank you. Oh, and it was the size of a $50. Now it's the size of a dime. So when Alina helps me walk, it's not because I have to be walking like that. It's because I got a dime in my foot that I'm trying to do. Hello. And Alina is, like I said, my sister, a lovely girl, but we're not engaged yet. Working on it. There's only 52 years difference. Oh, wow. What does that mean? All right, go ahead. Now, Jackie was my mom's name, and no, she actually started out as a beautician, doing makeup for women. And then she got an opportunity to do publicity for Mercury Records. And in 1947, she was voted the most successful woman in that business for Mercury Records. And she was the only woman in the Billboard magazine poll. That just thrilled me that my mother was so successful. And when I began singing, I never sang for Mercury Records.
But you must have thought you had chart success. You must have thought in the beginning that singing career was what you were going to pursue, or did you think even then, no, I want to go into acting?
No, the actual thing that I started doing was boxing. I had a wonderful career. I had 32 fights. I won 29 and I won draw 2 losses, and I had 20 by knockout. And yeah, left hook, man, it was beautiful. The only problem is I took it out of the gym and it was shrinking guy that I had lawsuits. Hey, pretty boy, I'll knock that battery on your shoulder. I had a French word in response to that.
Yeah, Michael's favorite.
And I said, bullshit. And then the lawsuits
I've had the opportunity to interview Van Damme and some other people who are action stars, and they say you actually get challenged more. Did you find that the case when you were starring on, we're going to get to Wild Wild West soon, but did you find people picking fights, trying to pick fights with you to prove their manhood? No. I had idiots that wanted to do that.
say with me, right?
Well, if the singing didn't put you on everybody's radar, and you certainly by 1959 you came on the radar when you played a tomahawk in Hawaiian Eye. And I'm sure there's a lot of fans of that show here today. And you ran from 1959 to 63, and I know you just had our under radio show, which we're going to talk about later, but we're going to introduce your co-star to come out here and talk about Hawaiian Eye with you.
Bobby, you're full of shit.
That's Max Berry.
I was going to say, Connie's voice.
Do you have your tongue on pocket whistle?
He has trouble spelling his name.
Yeah, it's true. And I thought Connie's voice
Max, put on some clothes.
Hey, I like you if you show your abs, but I cover mine up. All I got.
You look cute for a tall guy. Are you going to let me finish this interview? Please.
We're trying to introduce a class act, Connie Stevens, and Jennifer screwed it up. Come on. Connie Stevens, everybody. Fantastic. Connie, you're as gorgeous as ever. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being here.
I'm glad I came after that.
Her name is Conchetta Ingolia. Oh, that's her real name.
You should know.
Yeah,
right?
she's from New York. And, I know her parents, and I've known her since I met her at the Academy Awards. I was sitting at this table, and Nick Adams brought me there because he wanted to try and sell a TV series. And he didn't want to be with a woman and leave her alone. So he said, I want you to go somewhere. I didn't know what the hell I was going to. And I sat at this table. I looked over there at this little woman, and I thought to myself, And I said, hello, little girl. How old are you? And she said, I'm 19. And I said, that works. I'm 22. That'll work. And it was Connie Stevens, and that's how we first met. And I've been in love with her ever since.
I told you right now, this character, in the dark, it was in the days when they used to have dinner tables, came crawling over. Hey, how you doing? I'm gonna go do a television show at Warner Brothers. Meantime, my boyfriend's going like this. Who's that under the table? And I said, well, make sure you tell him you want to be in Hawaiian Eye. And he goes, got it. And he's my brother. He's my love. He's been my friend and something consistent in my life for I don't know how many years it is, but We've watched each other's children grow. We have laughed and cried together, and he's quite a spectacular man.
And I just stayed at her house. No, she was in New York, and I was supposed to get into this house building in Malibu, and it wasn't ready. So I called Connie and said, can I sit at your house for a couple of days? Which turned into weeks. And she said, sure. And so she was kind enough to let me stay there. And when I heard she was coming back, I left because I didn't, want to crawl into her bed. It's been so many years. Why would I know? I failed.
Girls that work at my house were, look, Conrad is here. I said, that's right, be careful.
Anyway, the guy that wrote that book that you're looking at now wrote another one called He Never Met a Woman that he didn't like. And of course, Connie's on the front page of it, and it's really an interesting book, and he wrote two others. This is a French author, and he wrote three books on Uncle Bob. They're really happy. I gave it to the audience to look at, and they're coming through here. And I think, is Connie on the first or second page? Connie Stevens, the one next to it. I don't want to confuse you. All right, anyway, go ahead, Connie.
So, one other question they asked, of course, is could either of you have thought that Hawaiian Eye would run as long as it did and be as successful as it would? Did you think you had a head right in the beginning?
I think we were so young, it didn't even matter. We loved what we did. We loved each other. We had so much fun. And we outlasted every show with Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
We were I think the last one, right, Bobby? And then we were there forever.
And that crossed over to the Sunset Strip, didn't it? And
You should do Sunset Strip.
the characters. Yeah, I'm fine. The internet's full of this. But they had crossovers, didn't they? With Hawaiian Eye, the character?
I did. I worked on 77, but we helped make Hawaii a state. We were there before Hawaii was a state. As a matter of fact, I think it was our first or second year. It was so exciting to be a part. And the largest building on the island was the Pink Palace. What's the name of that hotel in Fremont?
We were at Kaiser. It's Kaiser's.
No, right on the beach.
Kaiser's, and then it became Royal.
Hawaiian.
What is it?
Royal.
Royal Hawaiian.
I think it was Kaiser, and then it became.
Yeah.
You're losing credibility with me when you
Yeah, I think there was a bar there when they put our picture up. Remember that bar, Connie?
Yeah. The show bar.
The show bar, right? Yeah, sure. Connie's going in and saying, I used to go there and drink.
For both of you, wasn't Hawaiian Eye the first time you really had the kind of fame where people recognized you on the street?
Oh, yeah.
I learned to surf. Thank you, Hawaiian Eye.
We were meteorites.
Did you surf, Connie?
A little bit. I didn't date much because these guys followed me around.
That's right, we didn't much dating.
Did you visit a lot? Have you ever had a place in Hawaii? Did you go back? What do you think of the state after all the time you spent there?
Of all this time, I never bought a place. I should have, but I used to stay in a place called the Colony Surf. Remember the Colony Surf?
Connie, it's your interview, don't talk to me.
But I was dating a cute guy there by the name of Kui.
So you Hawaiian slipped through the cracks, Bob.
And Bruce Lee was an extra on our show in the first year. Remember
Wow.
that? And he's a damn good singer. We used to sing all the time. Come on, get that mic. Ready? Sweet someone, whoever you may be.
Sweet someone, you suit me to a T.
Although you pay no attention.
You sing it, Connie. I never liked the song.
That's it.
You have a rare opportunity, even though we were lucky enough to have Miss Stevens here once before. You'll be here the rest of the day, correct?
I will.
Downstairs, signing autographs.
I will.
And
Get out of here. I
photographs.
just had to see my man here.
She did, ladies and gentlemen.
God bless you.
Always
God bless
talented,
you.
beautiful Connie Stevens.
that's going to be released, and it got great reviews, and she wants us to tell you about it. So, do you have that information?
No, but we will.
Connie, what do you want me to say about the movie?
It's on video on demand right now, 100 million homes. Saving Grace B. Jones.
Okay, got it.
Now, you were actually offered the role of Major Anthony Nelson on I Dream of Jeannie. A lot of people don't know that. Or are you going to say that's not true? Why?
Was what?
You were offered the role of Major Nelson on Jeannie. I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh, yeah, it was. That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
I was wondering if you were just going to continue to screw with me or actually tell me the truth about something.
No. What happened was it was a building problem.
Yeah, right. They were going to give her star billing.
Yes.
And it was called Jeannie, and you figured, yeah, this is not a good career. And you were lifelong friends. We all miss Larry Hagman. He's done the Hollywood show several times. You were lifelong friends with Larry, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. He's a great actor, and it's a shame.
I never met an actor, frankly, that I didn't like. I love actors and actresses and entertainers. It's a tough business, and those that succeed, I applaud, and those that don't succeed, I applaud. It's a tough business.
You were back in the viewing habits of America soon enough, though, with Wild Wild West. You saw it range from 65 to 69, playing, of course, James West opposite Ross Martin, as Artemis Gordon. I imagine most of us being fans know that you did almost all your stunts in that show.
If I had to thank Kevin. You did almost all your stunts?
Well, would you like me to play the damn clip when you were on the Good Morning America and you said you did 99% of them? I was trying to respect what you said.
Is he all right?
Yeah, no, not really. What I'd like to know is, before Wild Wild West, had you ridden horses yourself?
No.
So you learned from the show.
Yes.
You've talked often about the one horse, but did it last the entire series with you?
Superstar.
Yeah, thanks.
And I gave that horse to my daughter when she turned 16 as a gift to her, and it was a magnificent horse that did all its own stunts. And I had a stand-in for the horse when they were lighting, because he was such a wonderful performer. I would let him stand there. I took him off and had an extra horse stand-in for a Superstar. Magnificent animal. If you see the clips or see the show and you see the stunts we do it together, and it was very exciting for me to be on the same page with him.
It's also been said, I'm sure it's true, they built a boxing ring on the set for you to work out in, correct?
They did. They built a boxing ring.
One of the questions your fans here today asked was, what was your regime then or now? You know, any physical regime to stay in shape that you would do daily?
Well,
besides
well,
work?
then I was training to turn professional as a boxer, and I was going to fight in Tokyo. And prior to that, I was going to do exhibitions with Emil Griffith, who at that time was middleweight champion of the world, and we were going to do exhibitions for the Vietnam veteran soldiers, and we were going to do them for the soldiers. But he lost his title to an Italian, and I did a stunt on the Wild West, and I had a 6-inch lineal fraction of the high temple fracture, and that ended in my opportunity for a year to turn pro. And with Emil out of it and me after waiting a year, I boarded the opportunity to turn pro and fight in Tokyo.
You fell about 20 feet to the concrete when another stuntman, I think you said, wasn't there when you did the aerial part of that stunt.
It was late. It was late, not once but twice.
Wow.
I wasn't happy with it then, I'm not happy with it now.
I've heard you say before that Ross Martin, who didn't do much of the stunts, did a lot of them. I mean, you set the tone on that show, so a lot of people, even Michael Dunn, you said, like to try to do stunts. And is it true you said most people got injured in some way?
Michael had to do his own stunts because he was 3 feet. Who's going to double that? I could get on my knees maybe. And Ross did some of the stunts, you know.
He'd said before that he'd hurt himself. I'm sure he was trying to.
Yeah, he broke his leg. But Ross was being interviewed on the Johnny Carson show, and Johnny wasn't a fan of mine. I'll tell you a story about that. It was kind of interesting. But Johnny said, "So now, do you do your own stunts?" And Ross said, "No, I do my own acting." Mr. Martin. And I saw it and I said, you son of a bitch.
Another fan wanted to know, did the guns that were used so much ever spook your horses?
No.
No, so the blank firing they were used
No,
to.
but the thing with I don't know if I'm going to go there. Go ahead, I will go there, but I'll go there a little later.
Oh, okay. Were you ever thrown from a horse?
Yes.
But the worst injury was the aerial over the balcony one that put you 6-9 months in rehabilitation, didn't it, or in the hospital?
6 months.
6 months, good Lord, that's incredible. And by the way, you all should know this if you don't, of course, Mr. Conrad is in the Stuntman's Hall of Fame as well. He should be.
Thank you.
Well, all kidding aside, you can count on one hand actors that are in there, so it's quite an achievement. I mean, it's...
No, there aren't any actors in
Yeah, that's what I said on one hand. Robert Conrad.
I'm the only one.
That's it.
Now, for Johnny Carson fans, I don't mean to offend you. I just want to share this with you. John was married to one of the wives, and they were arguing, and she later had a short-lived TV series, so if you remember her, that's who she was. And they're arguing, and who comes on but Uncle Bob, and she points to the TV and said, now that is a real man. And that was the headline Johnny Carson show. Thank you, Johnny Carson. Oh well, anyway.
There were so many great actors though that you had the pleasure to, that went through Wild Wild West. It was such a popular show. Is that why you were able to cast so many fantastic actors at the time through there?
Yeah, they wanted to do the show. We had Filipino, who I admired, who was one of the first female directors. She did the show. Yeah, we had celebrated people.
A lot of people seem to ask a lot. I love Victor Buono, and I met him before he passed. I never met Michael Dunn. A lot of people in the audience have asked various questions about him, so I'm willing to ask him specifically. What is your remembrance of that actor, Michael Dunn, who played, of course, Miguelito Loveless? Did you enjoy working with him?
With Michael?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was just trying to remember something that was specific, but no, I enjoyed working with him.
There was an interview you did a few years ago where they showed a clip on a news show of a scene where he was to go down in a boat in a lake, and I guess he did that too. And you were saying that it was hilarious that he did try again to do all his own stunts, and even that one, I guess they about drowned him trying to go down in the water on that. But like you said, at 3'8", it wouldn't be hard to drown somebody like that. But a lot of people in the audience asked about him and Victor Buono. Did you have any memories of working with him?
No, not working with him. I had a memory of him outside the China Trader restaurant in Burbank.
Well, tell us. Who are your friends? You won't know any farther.
Well, I know what the statute of limitations is. We had a dispute during the filming of the pilot, and Dick Buono was in it. We got into the parking lot, and this guy made an unnecessary, arrogant remark. And he paid the price right here. Short to the chin. Lost it. Anyway, no, he didn't see it. Thank goodness he didn't see it.
There are a lot of recurring villains on there, and we are thrilled to have one with us today as part of the James Bond reunion downstairs. If you please welcome to the stage, Richard Kiel. Richard, we're going to give you a chance to talk about your memories of this man on stage here. He's talking about everybody else. We want to hear what you think about him.
What? It's a shot. Did you bring him?
Everybody remembers him on Wild Wild West, Mr. Richard. Fantastic. What, Richard, was your memories memories of Michael Dunn, since you worked obviously a lot of scenes with him?
Who are you talking to?
To Richard. About Michael Dunn.
It was my show.
Okay. What was your memories of Richard's memories of Michael Dunn?
Forget about Michael Dunn. Talk about him. I remember him throwing me down a flight of stairs. And I'll never forget.
Nobody could double for you either, could they?
Yeah, but he beat me up so much I ended up like this. Hall of Fame, my memories of Bob was that he was a very, very dedicated actor who wanted very much to entertain people, and he didn't mind when I tried stealing a few scenes here and there. I think he kind of applauded it. And, as a really nice guy, one of the few real gentlemen, many men that I worked with, along with Roger Miller and a couple of others. So that too.
Thank you for that, man. I appreciate it. And you and working with Michael was one of the joys of doing the show. Really, I mean,
well, that first show that Michael Dunn and I did together, all of us, I think it took 8 days to film. Bernie Kowalski directed it. It was shot like a little movie, all the TLC, and it really helped my career, because they let me act a little bit.
yeah, with all the big stars. I forgive you for it.
Well, it's funny because I first wrote a verse in a TV show called Rifleman. And my agent had said, if they ever ask you if you can write a verse, say, oh, yeah, because usually all you have to do is to write out, get off the time, the verse up to the issue post, and that's about it. And so I made the mistake of saying, oh yeah, it's practically boring the verse. And so I get out to the location, and they say, okay, that hill up there, that tree up there, you go up that hill around that tree, and you and Kevin Higgin come riding around that tree, and then down the hill as fast as you can. And you bring up the rifleman and son, and oh my God, I was actually terrified. So I said to the wranglers, I said, I'm not too much for a horseman. You think I can ride the horse around a little bit? And they said, my hat flew off. And they said, you better need somebody to pin that hat on. If you don't have to do more than once. Anyway, Kevin's horse went zooming down that hill, my horse just took right out after him. And if you ever see the show, there's a big tall guy with his eyes closed. But later on, when I had some children, we had 3 horses. We had a retirement horses.
You were, like Connie, that show, you were probably more recognized by people after that show in the beginning, right? Even though you've done Rifleman and you've done, I know a lot of other things.
I mean, the Wild Wild West was much bigger for me than Rifleman. And I did 4 of them, and 3 with Michael Dunn. It was a great opportunity to learn and to act and be in a show that was very, very popular.
And they asked me, the audience, what's it like working with him? I said, how the hell do I know? I never saw him. He's so goddamn tall.
I didn't know you were such a comedian.
Neither did I.
Not either, I'm doing sit-downs or stand-up, whatever they call it.
I don't live here, so I don't get to hear him show what happened in Columbus.
You can hear
It's podcast too. Yeah, that's what you
So
thought.
the audience having their present. But I just got an ad from Kindle Fire that allows you to tune in to different radios. So hopefully I'll be able to.
No, I can get it. I want you to do the show. Alita, get the information from us. The show is it's the #1 international show. It has 12 million listeners.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and
That's great.
Yeah, and I want you to do
You've
it.
got a great sense of humor.
Would you do the show?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's fantastic. In addition to everything else we're seeing today, you just saw Robert Conrad networking. I think it's fantastic. Everybody, you got to go downstairs and see Richard while he's here today and tomorrow, right? You're going to be able to see him tomorrow. He's been here before, but he's with the Bond reunion, of course, and I know we've taken you away from the line of fans. You've got to go down there and support him and get some autographs and photographs. Richard, Kiel, everybody. Rascal was back on our television sets with Baba Black Sheep, which after syndication, they changed the name to Black Sheep Squadron. That went from 76 to 78.
What?
And it did.
What are you talking about, Black Sheep?
Black Sheep.
Let's talk about Wild West for a minute.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, what happened in the Wild West, for those of you that like the show, I didn't like it, I loved it, was it was canceled for TV violence by women against violence on television.
And still at the top of the ratings.
Well, now it's on at 4 o'clock on some station.
Me TV!
What was that again?
Me TV!
Me TV! It's on Me TV, and it is #1 syndicated radio television show, which thrills me. I've watched it several times. My former driver, Tim Kelly is his name, lives in a mobile facility and waiting for the house to get built. I've spent some time staying at his home in his trailer, and he watches the show and he showed it to me. That's the first time I got an opportunity to see it after all the years. And I'm like, God damn, it's good.
Fantastic. It holds up. It holds up brilliantly. In the 80s, it was #1 in Australia. They were playing it in prime time.
Well, it's #1 in France now. France has been just unbelievable to me, and I can't thank those French people enough. Well, I will. In July, when I go back, just to thank them. But what we do now is we go to the Black Sheep Squadron where you're going, which got canceled, for women against violence on television. So I'd like to get around to the bitches and slap them.
Of course, we know you played a real-life leader of that squadron who we were talking about his exploits that caused the show to come about, Pappy Boyington, and of course he was a technical advisor. You worked with him on the set. A great man. What I wonder is, and the audience had this question came up a lot, it's the first time you played, or I don't know if it was, but the point is you were playing someone that was a real-life person instead of a character. How much of that was Pappy and how much was Robert?
It was as much as Pappy wanted. You know, he was there every day. He sat in the trailer, and I supplied the vodka. And it was a wonderful experience to me. He was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. He was incarcerated in prison in Japan and shot down. And we became not good friends, but sort of best friends. And he was playing a golf tournament up north in Northern California. And I became a pilot. I bought my own airplane, and I would fly in the second season to work. And all the cast would go, look at that son of a bitch, he's flying in. That's right. And in any event, so Colonel Boyington said, I'd like to fly it up there. And I said, okay, Colonel, I mean, he's in his 80s, nobody can say no to the Congressional Medal of Honor award. And we're flying, and all of a sudden it's time to land, and we call, and the tower says, all right, this is the instructions. And I see we're not following those instructions. And we hit a fence. Conrad, come up to the tower. So I said, all right. So I took Colonel Boyington. We went up the tower, and I said, this guy was flying. So, oh my God, Colonel, how are you doing? So forget about it, Bob. Everything's okay.
For those of you who don't know, they used real Defense Department footage of aerial dogfights, and they also used some new footage that was shot using antique planes from a group that called themselves the Confederate Air Force. I don't know if it was true, but it was said many times that later they stopped shooting because they were worried about losing those crafts. Now those beautiful planes are priceless, many of them, the ones that they used and that they still own, and most of them are in museums. What some of your fans wanted to know was, they knew you had flown and flew to the set, like you mentioned. Did you get a chance to ever fly yourself in one of the big wing Corsairs?
No, I was training, and when the show got canceled, I boarded the training. I said, what the hell's I shall learn to fly a Corsair, there's no point, the show's over. So no, I never had an opportunity, but I would have been flying it to work if The show lasted. Well, comes in a course silence, son of a bitch.
Well, we got a co-star. There were a lot of people who went to big TV careers out of that group of guys. One of them is still a friend of yours. And again, we're thrilled to have you at the show as part of the Magnum PI reunion. Your friend, everybody, Larry Manetti. Same thing as Richard, what it was like working on that show. That was a unique show, wasn't it? There's nothing that's been done like that since.
Forget about that. I met Larry Manetti. He's from Chicago.
Yeah.
And,
Well, let me tell this.
no, wait a minute. I get a phone call from Chicago, and the guy says, you know, he's obviously one of us. I said, he's one of us. All right. So I go to this great restaurant. I can't remember the name of it, but it's where all the celebrities went back in the day. And went with Larry, we chatted. So I get an opportunity to do a picture in the Philippines, and I want to put him in the picture. And the guy who ran it, then he passed away. You know, he died.
John Ashley?
No, not John. What was the name of the producer?
Romero?
No, the guy from Texas.
Oh, Cruzberg.
Yeah, Cruzberg. So I went up to Cruz and I said, "Okay, you got to put him in this part." He said, "No, I can't." I said, "What do you mean you can't?" He said, "I can't. He's not in the Screen Actors Guild. Nothing. I can't do it." I said, "I'll tell you what, I'll pay him from my per diem," which per diem is what they give you in the show business to buy your lunches and kind of live outside of your salary. So he said, "Well, do I do that? It's okay with me." So Larry comes over and he's doing a wonderful job in the show. And one night I go up to visit my daughters. I hear kind of a noise. And I go, what the hell is that noise? I said, "Pull those drapes." And sitting in a goddamn tree is Larry Manetti.
Treehouse.
All right, tell your story now.
So I'm in the treehouse with his daughter Joan, unbeknownst to him, but it wasn't like I had set up a relationship with his daughter. There was nowhere for me to sleep, and we were in the middle of a jungle with panthers and monkeys walking around. And here I am in this treehouse, and I said, "Duke, yo, Duke." And he's looking around, and I see a light, and I say, "It's me." He says, "Manetti, what are you doing in the, what's she doing there?" I said, "I'm gonna get killed." And the only way down was on these little steps, and I tried to make it, and I did. But luckily, he didn't bring me, but he looked at Joan, and she says, "Dad, go back to bed."
Anyway, look at the damn audience.
I'm looking at you, is that what you're looking at?
I mean, they came here, they paid some money.
I told him that you are. And also, I'm very happy that Duke is here. I know this is the first time he's ever done this.
But you know, Manetti, they sold out, but those people didn't show, so maybe we can do a deal on their tickets. Why not?
Did you fly at all? Did you fly? Did you have a pilot's license or?
You mean from bars?
You hang out with this guy from Chicago, I'm sure.
No, I didn't fly.
We got into a great war. We got into one of the great wars at that, what was the name of that
candy store.
The candy store. It was a very in place. If you were an actor, you just wanted to go to the candy store. So Lawrence and I are in the candy store. And Lawrence sees this honey. Yes. And he invites her to dance, and they're out there dancing. It was an L-shaped bar. Next to me is this big, muscular black guy, and over here in the center is some kind of overweight Italians that I didn't know were from Chicago at that time. I found out later. So anyway, they're there, and Larry comes back, and the guy says, "What are you doing? Don't do that again. Don't ask her to dance." Now, her husband had just died, and it was a good thing therapeutic for her to have some companionship. And I said to the guy, "Hey, wait a minute, back off. If he wants to dance with her, it's up to her to say no." And the black guy says, "Hey, don't talk to him like that." I said, who are you? He said, "I'm with him." I said, "Oh, that's interesting."
Bang!
He goes down like he's on an elevator. Right? And the next thing I know, I'm on the floor. And I'm getting booted, kicking. And he rides on top of me to stop him, me getting booted. And so they start kicking the shit out of him.
Yeah,
Tell your
well,
story, Manetti.
you forgot to mention, this big black guy turned out to be the champion of the world. And,
Not that night.
well, we made it out, and we got into, I had a white Cadillac Eldorado convertible then, and we got in, and I was all messed up, and Duke said, all right, let's go. And I said, I got to go to a hospital. He said, well, find it. So I'm driving, and I couldn't see, and I'm going through stoplights, and this cop pulls us over. And he looks in the window, and I'm a mass of blood, and he goes, oh my God, and he says, hey, it's me. And the guy goes, oh my God, it's Robert Conrad. Where do you guys want to go? We'll escort you. I thought we were going to take you to the nearest bar, but we did make it to the hospital.
He forgets to tell you, if we pull over to one of those old-fashioned telephone things, you know, the booths where the phone's there.
Oh.
All right, so I want to call and find out what the closest hospital is, and what the hell is going on? What the hell's going on? And Larry says, well, maybe it's because that thing is hanging there.
Yeah, it was cut off.
It's cut off. It wasn't plugged in, and I'm trying to call it not plugged in. It was a lot of fun.
One of the many adventures that we
Now,
had.
the next day, or 2 days later, I got a friend in Chicago whom I love, absolutely love. He was like my relationship, like blood. And his brother comes from Las Vegas. This guy comes from Chicago. And I walk into this upscale Italian restaurant, and who's sitting there but fat guys that were there 2 nights before kicking the shit out of Larry and me. And Tony says, what do you want to do? So I'll take an apology. He said, give him one. And I got one.
That was our many adventures.
You know, you can tell with this gentleman on the stage, no one else could have done the Ever-Ready commercials that he started doing around that time. Everybody remembers those, daring them to knock it off. How did that come about, Robert, when they came to you with that script?
So the name of the book is, what do we call it? Duke of 63rd Street? Is that the title? Okay. Anyway, the name of this book's going to be The Duke of 63rd Street, and I'm going to tell my life story from the beginning, and what you just heard will be in there. I'm only going to delete some things that I don't think are appropriate for me to mention because there are other people, and without their permission, and some of them have passed away. I'm not going to go there. This is just our stuff. And the Larry Manetti story will definitely be in there. Because there's more.
Now, the Ever-Ready commercials were incredible. I mean, they're in the Commercial Hall of Fame, those commercials, as you know. Did you think they would be as popular as they were when you first shot one?
No, I saw the payday. And I said, I'm going to do this. And I did, and I got the payday. And I had 2 hours, 2 days, 2 years left. And I asked Ever-Ready if they'd be kind enough to get me out of my contract. And they said, yeah, if you guarantee us you won't do another commercial for 2 years. And I said, I guarantee that. And the reason I asked them to release me was because it was redundant. It was the same thing.
Right.
And I had done it for 3 years, and I didn't want to do it for 5. So, and it was a wonderful experience. The Ever-Ready company was a great company to work for. And it was fun walking around going, I dare you. You've got to be goofy to walk around to American men and go, I dare you. They're going to line up. And the only time it worked, and it was, I was flying into Chicago, and I had a little trouble with the landing, and there was some conversation with the tower. And anyway, I got out of the airplane, and this guy says to me, I'll knock it off. And I turned around and I said, you ain't going to do shit. End of story. No left hook, no straight right hand. It was just, I was offended. And so, poor guy's offended.
By 1979, you were back again with a man called Sloan. Oh, wait, there's your #1 fan back there with that show. The press dubbed it, though, James West in another setting. I thought it was fantastic. So did he, and so did they.
Larry Manetti, I don't know about him.
Well, I figured, and we asked Larry if he could stay.
For 80 years with that big tall guy.
Yeah, well, he was in a little show that made it about a decade, too, Bob. That's why he's down there signing for Magnum PI. But this is about James.
It's wonderful. Magnum PI, and then what else? He's just had a wonderful career, but it started with him in a tree.
True. But what you are not telling everybody, and I'm going to tell them, is I was in Chicago, and I had met Bob, and he said, if you want to come out here and try to be in show business, call me. So I did, and he answered the phone. It was on Wild West, and I said, I'm ready. Ready for what? I said, you know, I'm ready to come out there. He says, well, come on, get your ass out here, Manetti. I'm going to Vienna. I'll give you the keys to my apartment. I'll be gone for 3 months. Just keep it clean and make sure when I come back, there's no beer cans and crap laying around, and I'll take care of you. Guess what? He did.
Thank you. That's the end, Larry. You're done.
Larry Manetti, everybody. We have one of your fans that asked a question about Centennial. They said you were fantastic in it, and you were. They said you should have received the Emmy, and I agree. It was fantastic work. They wanted to...
Wait. Kevin, every actor wants a body of work. Every actor wants to look back at his career, and they say, what was that moment? And in my career, I've got a new TV show I'm going to be doing in March, but I mean, I don't want to talk about that. It's, anyway, the moment in my career was Centennial. That was my best work. And I want you to see it on the way to Centennial because of the flamenco dancing and the Spanish singing. It's classic, and you people know film. I can tell from the response that you know film. Get that with Marisol. And then the first 5 hours of Centennial is my best work. And I had to jump into a body of water, and it was freezing, and they were trying to figure out how to make it work without freezing the actor. I said, forget about it. I got so much emotional stuff going on, I will jump into that water. So I said, all right. So I did it. And I came out, and I was absolutely freezing. There's a hand on my shoulder, and the guy said, you are Pasquinel, which is the character I played. And he said, you are Pasquinel. I turned around and said, who are you? And he said, I'm James Michener. And I had a letter from him on the book that he sent me that I cherish. And when I get into my new home, I'll take it out and frame it somewhere because it was a challenge to do that. And it was acting at its highest level, and I'm thrilled I had the opportunity to do it. So if you want to see what he thinks is his best work, that's it.
Wow, fantastic. Another person in our audience tonight, Robert, wanted to know who was the most challenging. You've had the most beautiful leading ladies who comes to us, probably anybody's career. Who was the most challenging of them to work with, and who was your favorite to work with?
My favorite actress?
Yeah.
Oh, everyone I worked with. Are you kidding me?
Well, that's Dish. Who was the most challenging?
No, hello, hey baby, what's up? No, the book is unbelievable. It's called I Never Met a Woman I Didn't Like. And that's the truth. It comes from Mom. You know, my dad wasn't close to me. You know, really. We had moments. But then there was a fallout. So anyway, but I was very, very close to my mother. And she would say, you know what you didn't do? And she'd either punch me in the butt or slap me in the face. And I said, oh God, what did I do? You didn't open the door for that woman. I went, okay, Mom. You didn't stand up when she walked in the room. Okay, Mom, you didn't open the door when she got in your car. I learned to do that. How do you do? I wouldn't like you. I'm sorry. Well, that's how I grew up. Respect for women. And I do that. So you asked me what women, they were all, are you kidding me? I was lucky to work with those women for 104 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, that's right.
And Mom set the tone for that. We have another question from the audience. What was the most unusual job in or out of show business that you ever had?
Probably working on the docks, probably. You know, yeah. You know, I loaded trucks until on the midnight shift, midnight till 8:30. And then I saw this Teamster guy driving this thing. And I said to myself, what do you think I'm going to do with that instead of loading these trucks? So I graduated into driving a heister.
Right.
Okay, and I would pick up the pallets, and they would drop them off, and these stupid guys would load the trucks. I was no longer one of those stupid guys. So yeah, that was a tough job.
This is another
What was
one.
the 710 Teamsters?
Wow.
I ran for office. I wanted to be, at that time, I wanted to be a Teamster, and I wanted to be a union guy at that time.
Well, since you said that, I'll skip this question for a minute because you were mayor up near where you live, correct, for many years?
No, I wasn't.
You weren't mayor. No. So do people just make shit up online about you?
I have no idea. I was a deputy sheriff.
Deputy sheriff, 8 years, right?
Reserve deputy sheriff, yeah. Is there anything else, Alina, that was, no?
King of the world?
Did you like the world? Did you like that? Did you like I can't see you liking politics.
Well, I like politics.
Do you?
Yeah, I like politics. I don't like it recently because now that I do a radio show, I have listeners that are of different persuasion. And I don't want to alienate that audience because it's an audience and I respect their opinion. So you can be anything and I don't want to challenge it.
They respect your opinion as your fans, and one of them wanted to know what your opinion was of reality shows that are all over the place now. They want to know, I don't know the question. They want to know what you thought of reality shows. Do you even watch it? Do you watch much television or something?
Alina, what do I think of reality shows? Nah. God, Alina's not my lover, she's my assistant.
I keep saying that.
Boyfriend is gay.
Do you watch anything yourself? Do you watch any shows at all today?
Yes.
Yeah, do you have a favorite?
Yes.
Which one?
It's called The Five. It's on Fox.
Yeah.
And it's 5 people and they're very funny. Bob, the one that's the staunch Democrat, is hilarious. And the women are all pretty, and they show their legs. I have a question. Women are high heels, which I love even more. What?
I have a question for you. Again, maybe this was missaid in an interview once, but once in an interview you said you got by on very little sleep, average 4 hours a night. Was that true only at one time, or is that still true today?
What was the question?
That you got by on very little sleep. You said you average sometimes only 4 or 5 hours a night sleep. Or were you?
Would you open that coffee for me?
Oh, sir.
I don't answer the question.
Or were you talking about, was that a
Back
certain
then,
time?
back in the day, yeah, I could do 4 hours, and I would think, and I would do 4 or I would do 6. But now that I'm older, I need to sleep, and I enjoy my sleep now, so I do maybe 8.
Right.
And that depends. Sometimes I might do a little more.
Now, we all know you got your own radio show.
What?
We all know you got your own radio show. I've heard it many times. How many people have heard of Bob on his radio show? Fantastic. And as we said earlier, if you can't, for any reason, tune in. There's a way to see it, hear it free on podcast, and on HollywoodShow.com, they're going to post all that information for you. You've been there 4 years now, is that right?
Yes, 4 years.
What do you think about that? I mean, that's brand new. You've never done radio before.
No, I have a TV show that I'm going to be doing, a television series. And I just got the news that I was chosen to be the star of the show, and I didn't. Yeah. Thank you. And I didn't pursue it with my agent. I don't know why. Alina, why didn't I pursue it? What's her first name?
Cheryl.
Thank you. Never the first thing to go. 29 wins, 32 fights. Stanley Wazinski, I lost. That was the 8th fight. And the last fight was Johnny Leptine. And he was going to be in our Olympics, and unfortunately, he was taken by an airplane crash. Great fighter, and we got standing ovation. And when he was chosen, I wasn't disappointed because I knew one of us was going to be chosen, and it was John, and John with me. So I'm doing an interview for a TV movie, because I primarily do television, TV movies for television, which I enjoy more than the other. And anyway, I'm publicizing this thing, and I walk out, and this kid at the front said, "Hi, Mr. Conrad." I said, "How you doing?" He said, "Good. I liked your interview." I said, "Thanks." He said, my father beat you in the ring." I said, "What?" He said, "My father beat you in the ring." I said, "I know your father's full of it." I said, "What's his name?" He said, "His name is Johnny Leptine." I said, "Your father did beat me in the ring." He said, "Mr. Conrad, he married an Italian woman. Every Sunday we had a big brunch. And what would be fun is if you could come to that brunch and say hi to my dad. And say, what would be more fun is if I come to the brunch, but you don't tell him. And I knock on the door." And he said, "Would you do that?" I said, "Yeah." So he lived in a suburb outside of, not Miami, but when you go up north. Give me a.
Lauderdale.
Yeah, Lauderdale. Yeah. He lived near Fort Lauderdale. And so I got there on time, and I knocked on the door, and I banged hard on the door, and I heard this gruff voice, "What the hell? Who is that? Who is it?" He opens the door, and he sees me, and he said, "Oh my God." And I said, "And I want a rematch." And we sat and we talked about that little fight for weeks. It didn't last that long, but it did with us. And then, remember when I hit you with the shoe? I remember that? Which, of course, I did.
I know there's no better news for anyone in this room to hear you're returning to television in March, and I'm sure you'll be able to mention that on your radio show.
Oh, I'm sure I will.
Your website, and keep everyone posted so we know.
I wonder how that's going to affect the radio show. I haven't thought about that. Oh, well, we'll see.
And again, all the radio show information, because a lot of people have asked about it that didn't know, is going to be on the Hollywood Show website, and we've got information downstairs. And all these people are excited about the fact that you've graciously decided to take pictures next with them, which we're going to do over here, so if you all just stay seated. And all this love you're about to hear, including from me, is for you.
Wait a minute, where are we going to do it?
We're going to do the pictures right, they're going to set up right over here.
Why over there? Why don't we do it right here?
We'll ask the photographer, but if everybody stays seated, they're going to call you one at a time.
All right, no, we can do that, but let's do the A's first, the questions. Let's do the questions first, and then
Are there any other questions? The questions were asked through my
back there, furthest away, yes.
Would you compare Michael Dunn's character, Dr. Beagle Loveless, to Frank Gorshin's character, the Riddler on Batman?
No, I thought he was, no, I thought there's different characters. Sure.
Can I do my Hulk Hogan voice as a tribute to him?
Sure, go ahead.
What you gonna do when James West, Pappy Boyington, and Hulkamania and the man called Sloan runs wild, rumbles, and destroys you?
Too loud. Yes.
Well, that's a nice segue for my next question.
Go. That's hard to believe.
Battle of the Network Stars.
Yes.
That I just loved you with.
I loved it too, and I won most of them. And the actors on my team hated me.
Front row. Yes, sir.
Yes, I was just wondering if you had any formal karate training before Wild Wild West.
Yeah, I had it before Hawaiian Eye, and we called it kara, which is empty te, which is hand, defending yourself with your empty hand. And I saw a lot of actors getting awards for their physical prowess, and it offended me because I knew they couldn't spell karate. So the first season of Wild West, in the boxing sequences, I did karate, and then I saw this, I said, no, we'll go back to what I know better, which was street fighting. Yeah, I took it out of the ring and put it in the street and so on and so forth. Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming, first of all.
It's a
Great
pleasure.
to see you. And two questions. One, what was your favorite episode of Wild Wild West? Which was the one that you had the most fun with?
All of them.
And which was the favorite episode you did with Ross Martin?
All of them. Every day coming to work was a thrill for me. I enjoyed it. And the first time that I was on a horse, we were doing the pilot, and the wrangler, which is the guy that takes care of the horses, came up to the director. He said, well, you know something? You're going to love this because you're going to see a lot of the scenery because his ass is so far away from the saddle. All you see is all the background because this guy can't even spell horse. Which is true, but there were two guys in the acting business that got accolades. One was Glenn Ford and the other was Conrad. Yes, sir.
My question is with Wild Wild West, was there ever a thought about actually doing a theatrical movie?
They did one. And by the way, you were one of the only actors to have the balls to accept a Razzie Award in person. That was hilarious. That movie was, I think we all agree, so bad with Will Smith. And this man showed up at the Razzie Awards, which is for worst film, and accepted 3 of the damn awards in person.
Will Smith, he lives in Westlake Village, and at that time I lived there. And I'm going to the restaurant, he's coming out with his beautiful wife, and we look at each other and we stop. And he said, well, it was an interpretation. I said, is that what it was? I knew it was something. And his wife said, I told you so. I told you so. He got paid. Yes, sir.
Did you enjoy playing roles for villains, like on Mission Impossible?
Yeah, I like to act. I mean, I'll play anything because it's so much fun, and you're so lucky to do it. And if you do it well, you can entertain your audience, and that's what it's all about. It's all about you and giving you the best you can give. That's what it is, and that's what I like to do.
You played a great bad guy in Columbo. Yeah. Everybody remember that? Yeah, it was fantastic too.
That's another thing. So the star of Columbo, unfortunately, just passed away.
Right.
Peter Falk.
Yeah, I know. And thank you for sharing that. Anyway, so Peter Falk. In the sequence, I'm supposed to drink this orange juice, and I'm drinking carrot juice instead. And I said, I can't stand this damn carrot juice. I want to go back to the orange juice. And Peter said, no, it's more real if you drink the carrot juice because of your reaction. I said, horse shit. But I did what he said and drank the goddamn carrot juice. Yeah.
Mr. Conrad, I've been a fan since I was a kid, and you're one of my heroes. I also met Pappy Boyington 6 months before he died, and he looked like a bulldog Marine even in his last 6 months. How was it to be portraying a living legend? And you made 2 episodes with him face to face. Which one was your favorite?
Well, my favorite was, first of all, being chosen and to do the role. And everything I did with Pappy was my favorite. But I went on an interview with a friend of mine who just passed away, a wonderful producer, director. And I went into his office to be interviewed for the part. And Colonel Boyington Gray was sitting there. And we chatted, and the producer said, would you step outside for a few months? I said, sure. So I went and stepped outside. And, I had done Wild West that I was kind of iffy about. Why am I, but anyway, I went and stepped outside. You know who I'm talking about the producer? Yeah, Stephen Kiel. Yeah. Who was a magnificent guy. And another one of my best friends. But the 2 guys that Larry Manetti and I talked about, they came from Vegas, one from Chicago. They did a horrible horrible film about them allegedly, and I lost respect for the director after they did that film because it had no credibility, and they were buried alive outside of in Indiana, and then they did this movie, and what was the name of that movie?
Casino.
Casino, yeah, terrible. I didn't see it, I wouldn't see it. What was the director's name? Martin Scorsese. Yes, and I loved him. But after he did that, you're obligated to do the research on the person you are playing or directing. And when I did Greg Boyington, he was there. And if he said, no, don't do that, I would do it. And then I played another guy who was in jail for a while. He was a Washington big shot. What was his name?
G. Gordon Liddy?
Yeah, G. Gordon Liddy. So I played G. Gordon Liddy, and Gordon was there. He was there for everything I did. And so I said to myself, that's what you do. That's what you're obligated to do. Play the person you're playing. And when Will Smith played me, it was, I just can't, it was horrible. A horrible experience. He should have done it a little differently. All right, so what was the other question?
The two episodes that the Colonel played in your show, you had two scenes with him. What was your favorite of those two episodes, portraying him while you're facing him?
Oh, well, what happened was, so I'm with Stephen Campbell, I'm waiting outside. Colonel Boyington comes out and says, hey, let's go have a drink and celebrate. You got the role. And I said, oh, Colonel, that's wonderful. So we went to the Hilton Hotel, which is right by the Universal Studios. And it was so joyous having this opportunity that we both stayed there overnight. We couldn't get out of there. Couldn't fly, couldn't walk, couldn't drive.
Is that in the book?
Yeah, that'll definitely do. The only thing that won't be in the book are the names of. I want to ask you a question because, like I say, this was sold out. Some people didn't show, that's fine, but I'm glad the ones that did show are here. But in the book, I want to be very careful to protect some of the people. I will tell the story about the two brothers who were murdered. Because Michael, the youngest brother, was the best friend I've ever had. He was blood to me, and I love him that much. So, in the book, I wanted to leave the names of the women that I've had the pleasure of their company. What the hell are you laughing at? You're a woman. But in any event, there's one woman who is absolutely famous. And Natalie Wood had a party that Sinatra threw for her 21st birthday. And I was invited to go there. And it was partners, and my wife was never a fan of, my first wife who died of ovarian cancer, Joan, she never was a fan of show business. And that was one of the problems we had, is she didn't care about show business. Her father was a very successful lawyer who retired at 42, and he was absolutely brilliant and very rich. So I took her out of the suburbs to Hollywood, and it just didn't work. But so I'm with Jack Warner. I'm one of the few actors that really admired and respected Colonel Warner, Warner Brothers. And we're buddies. And I said, is that suit? Did you get that suit? Sight of war? And he said, yeah. I said, well, guess what? I got mine there, thanks to you. Sight of war. He said, because I paid you too much. That was Jack Warner. So anyway, that's the party for Natalie. And then I get a phone call from an actor. And he said, I'd like you to come to the house for dinner, but don't bring your wife. I said, huh, what? He said, no, it's a card game, guys. I said, all right, I can deal with that. Can't my wife come and talk to your wife? He said, no. I said, okay. So I go, and there's just the two of them, and he had this guy that was, his arm cooked and everything for him. He was just a available to this guy all the time, this actor. His wife was an actress too. So I look around, there's no one there but the three of us. What the hell's going on? And in comes this actress. And I took a deep breath and I went, oh my God. He leaned over to me and he said, that's what she wants for her birthday. You. So, I told her the story. But I don't want her to be named in the book. She's passed away. I think it'd be inappropriate. But I can tell the story the way I just told it. Believe that? Yeah, sure, of course. Okay?
We got time for two more questions, yes?
There won't be any.
The young lady in the second row?
Yes, oh, yes, lady in the second row.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fair, how are you?
Good. My sister and I grew up watching all your sitcoms and movies. I'm your biggest fan. And I'm just curious to know what your favorite role was that you played in all your sitcoms and movies.
Centennial.
Oh,
You weren't listening. But you're pretty enough not to have to.
Yes, sir, with the long black hair, yeah.
What's your favorite Wild Wild West gadget and your least favorite Wild Wild West gadget?
What? I was staring at the woman. You're talking about gadgets?
Yeah. Your favorite and your least favorite.
My favorite gadget was my payday. And my least favorite was when it got canceled because of violence on television. Which is the same reason they canceled Bob Up, actually. So I got tired of getting canceled.
And this gentleman said, did you ever keep any props from the show?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I got a phone call and they said this man in Florida, what's the name of that city? It'll come to, but wants to buy the train from the Wild West.
The Wanderer, right?
And I said, Ian, I'm not in charge of that. I said, but he wants you to come down and pose with his two sons. And I said, and what? And it's a payday for you. It's a significant payday for you. I said, let's talk payday. You know, it was a teamster. Come on. And, okay, I said, that seems to work for me. Wow. And I went and met this guy and his two sons, and there was the train on his property. And I walked up to the second floor. When you see the view from the second floor, as I'm walking down, I see this magnificent picture of this woman. I mean, absolutely brilliant. And he said, that's my wife, and she passed away. And I wanted to do this for my boys because she was in her late 20s. And he said I was still in love with her. So I said, all right. So anyway, I posed with the boys, and it was an interesting experience for the Wild West. That's probably the most significant thing that happened to me in that time I did that show.
You should put that in the book as well. That's fantastic.
I will.
Yeah.
I can't remember this. Remember this? You know, okay, so Alina, you're not with it tonight. Are you thinking about Rory? Rory, one more question. He's the dwarf she goes. Third girl ready to try to get ready. Yeah, last question.
I just wanted to ask Bob, are you aware that they've just released on a CD all your old recordings from Warner Brothers, all your singles? It's come out on a CD. I saw it on Amazon. I actually bought it. It has not only you, it has Dwayne Hickman from Dobie Gillis, anyone from that era that had released singles, you know, songs, they have it now on a CD that people can buy. I didn't know if you were aware of that.
There's got to be a rush on it.
If you're not aware of it, we can tell your lawyer so they can look into it.
That makes a step.
You can pull it up on Amazon.com.
I can't believe it.
Did you enjoy singing, doing that whole career?
No, I hated singing for Warner Brothers records, and I quit because the guy was, you're nothing but how do I say, what is Ohio? What kind of music is that? And I met him on a football field. Can we tell the Elvis Presley?
Absolutely.
You want to hear the Elvis Presley?
Yeah.
They were playing football on this field in Beverly Hills, and it's touch contact, which means you get bumped a little bit. And I'm really getting bumped by this guy, and it was the first time in my life that I wanted to quit. I thought, I gotta walk off. This is brutal. And then the next thing is this man that was hitting me walks off. He's injured. And I said, there's a lesson here. Never, never quit. And then he wasn't there to protect the quarterback. So I got in there because I was a linebacker in real life when I was a student. And I bounced this son of a bitch off the turf. Bang! I went, where's your bodyguard? You hit me pretty hard. I said, that's because you had the ball in your hand. I said, what's your name? My name's Elvis. We met him. Can I tell you one more Elvis story? So he's got his entourage up at the hotel, the Wilshire Hotel. What was the name of that actor that stared at me at that?
There's a few.
I said actor at the Wilshire Hotel.
Sean Penn.
No, he was in that Italian restaurant.
No, that's all right.
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino.
I can see how that would slip your mind.
Hey, he's a wonderful.
He's a hack. He is a great actor. Nice guy, too.
So anyway, the entourage is there. And I came with a lovely, lovely girl that I met at James Dean's grave in Fairmont, Indiana, or Jimmy lived. And anyway, we're just visiting, and Elvis says, I want to take you to see a movie. I said, why? He said, because I want to introduce you to this actress. I said, is she going to be watching the movie? She said, no, she's in the movie. I said, well, what movie? Maybe we can, work something out. He said, no, she's from France. And it was Bridget Bardot, which was my first introduction to Bridget. Should she be in the movie?
Oh, yeah.